Hello, everyone. Welcome to T1D Tuesday, where we talk all things T1D. I'm your host today, Nuclear, and joining me is the lovely Yasmin. Oh, other way, Yasmin Robertson. She is from the Breakthrough T1D UK team, works in corporate partnerships. Also, hugely passionate about looping. So we're going to talk all about looping today as well, if that's something maybe you've thought about or you're not super familiar with. Really great topic to get into. I'm gonna go ahead let Yasmin go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm Yasmin, and as Nuclear mentioned, I am the corporate partnerships manager here at Breakthrough T1D UK. So firstly, thank you so much for having us and shining a light on the UK and our
Yes.
work and what we do. Because yeah, it's a really interesting landscape as well. I've been type 1 for, we were just talking about this since I was 11. I'm now 30. It's like 18, 19
Yes,
years,
yeah, the
around there.
math. A
But I've
long
only
heckin'
been at,
time.
yeah. And it starts to get to the point where I'm like, "Oh, I'm done, but here we are." But yeah, and I've only worked at Breakthrough T1D for a year, literally this month now, which has been such just an honor and a privilege
Yes.
to work for the organization leading the global advocacy and research for type 1. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you on here today and be working with the Breakthrough T1D UK team and trying to bolster what you all have going over there as well. Because we are not just a lot of our community is focused here in the US, but diabetes is a worldwide thing, and we're trying to fight for a cure everywhere. And your efforts are just as important as here in the US. So it's
Thank
really great
you.
to have you here and connect with your team as well. You mentioned you were diagnosed at 11 years old. Do you remember what it was like the day you got diagnosed and leading up to that diagnosis, how that all went down?
Yeah, I always say it's kind of the typical story, but with nuance. So it's very typical in the way of, I would say, probably like half our population, where you have no family members with type 1.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's heard of it,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. And it was a string of misdiagnosis
Mm.
over about, I'd say, like over a year,
Oh, wow.
realistically. Yeah, I was really active as a kid. Like I was dancing a lot. I did karate.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone laughs at that now. If you know me, that is hilarious. But um, and yeah, just people thought to be honest, like everyone thought I was anemic and anorexic.
Mm.
Because obviously the weight you
Oh,
lose
wow.
and like the kind of big headline from my story. And it's really funny how it came about now. But we weighed my dog when I was 11 years old. My dog weighed more than me. And it wasn't a big dog, it was a
Yeah.
spaniel.
Oh, gosh.
Like it wasn't a huge dog. So
Yeah.
I was just under 4 stone. So yeah, my parents were really like to the GP, like, come on, this isn't this isn't
Mm-hmm.
right.
Something's up.
And then yeah, like it was they get a bad rep now, but do you remember the old like Wii boards? Like the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So obviously, I don't know why, but my parents put the dog on it. I think that says more about my parents. I don't know. But here we are. I don't think it was funny now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my big thing. Went to the GP, obviously, and was in DKA, incredibly sick. I was in hospital for over 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of on that cusp of age where like I do remember my life before type 1,
Mm-hmm.
but so many people can probably relate to the whole, but you're still a child.
Yeah.
But also then at that age as well, it's do your parents do your injections? Do you do your injections? Back
Mm-hmm.
then it was finger pricking as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's anyone watching that kind of goes, oh yeah, I remember the days of kind of let your parents get on with it. But I went straight in. I was like, no, I've got this. Don't
Oh,
worry.
wow. That's
Um,
incredible. That's
I
such a
mean,
big life change going from not having or not knowing that you have type 1 diabetes to all of a sudden it's such a an onslaught of things you have to manage very suddenly and learn. You have to learn how to dose your insulin because you're not just taking like a set medication. You have to know, okay, I'm eating this food. Oh, but it's pizza, and the way that pizza acts with insulin is different than the way fruit does. And there's so many little factors that go into how you take care of yourself. And at 11 years old, that's a big task.
yeah. Oh, hugely. And then you just have like just the normal pressures then of kind of going into like teenagehood and being a
Mm-hmm.
female
Oh
and
gosh,
periods.
yes.
I can't. I was like, how did we survive back then with injections and finger pricking? And then I talked to some of my colleagues that have diabetes for 50. I mean, one of my personal heroes in the UK, he's an absolute legend here. He's had diabetes for like nearly 70 years. And I'm like, how? Like, it just blows my mind. But that's then also what I love about this disease is there's no other disease I feel without a community like this.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're so fortunate that yeah, we speak, but like I think that's the great thing about our disease. There's not many, but the support system out there,
Yes.
even if you know no one, you have no family, you can look and you will be heard. But I think it's really funny how you mentioned as well. Like I see all the similarities, even though we're UK and obviously you're based in the US, when you say about the nuances of medication.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking for another disease where a doctor goes, here's the medication. Please, can you make up your own dose every 4 to 6 hours every time you eat? I'm still looking for another disease that has that medication regime
Yeah.
because
You literally have to go through a training regimen, and it's the little factors we talk about all the time, how many little things can impact your blood sugar levels and how sensitive your
yeah,
body might be to the insulin. And it, which is fine on like a day-to-day, I think, basis. A lot of us probably have our regular routines, our regular food you eat, but as soon as you veer from that, all of a sudden, and no doctor can write a prescription for that. It's
no,
that's why it's constantly we're constantly going to the endocrinologist and checking in, and it's it's really a lot what we deal with every day.
and again, I think like we're so like you say, like talking about we get the help from healthcare professionals. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm very fortunate that I have an amazing team. But there are some places here in the UK where people with type 1 diabetes are seen just in primary care. So that means just in like a
Oh,
GP setting.
uh-huh.
And that is wrong. That is just, I
That's wild to me. Yeah.
yeah, this is all to do with access in the UK, the NHS being overworked, over-resourced. Don't get me wrong now, in primary care settings with these general practitioners, they have got better education. There are some that have got
Hmm.
special interest in diabetes and things. But I just can't see that replacing a consultant in an endocrinology
Yeah.
setting and things. And that's what breaks my heart. I think, wow,
Yeah.
they're my heroes, they're my warriors. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're the one really taking this by storm.
That's really interesting to me. I know our healthcare systems are very different. But I couldn't imagine, yeah, because I've seen many, many different doctors throughout my life and been even like in the hospital for DKA and had doctors working on my DKA, not understanding how, like, I've had to be like advocating for myself in the hospital
That,
because the TLDR was that I was in DKA and they had me on an insulin drip. And they're like, oh, it's going to be the same insulin no matter what meal you eat. And I was like, no, 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 no. That's not, I'm never going to get out of DKA if that's what we're doing. Like, that's, just like very base misunderstandings. And that's why, as you're saying, like having someone who specializes, at least in endocrinology, is, I think, critical for our longevity and treatment of our condition long term.
But also to take the pressure off of you in that situation. You're the one in hospital
Yeah.
trying to recover. There's literal facts about how people with diabetes make roughly on average an extra 180
Mhm.
decisions a day. If you're in hospital, you're needing someone to take
Yes.
that off.
Yes.
You don't want to be sat there going, oh, sorry, actually, I do need insulin to stay alive.
Yeah.
If you're aware,
Yeah.
but we laugh, but it's not, it's so silly. And that's why I love working for this organization as well. We've got like a big policy advocacy work at the moment called Access for All, which
Mm.
is looking in kind of those kind of spaces that maybe healthcare professionals and things need more training in. There needs to be policy in. So inpatient hospital care,
Yes.
massive.
That's
The one that's
huge.
really, really interesting me at the moment, um, because our population as a community with type 1 diabetes, we are now surviving, we're thriving, we're getting older, and
Mm.
actually the care in the type 1 aging community, so care homes, carers, again, inpatient hospital care, is just not, to be honest, it's not adequate. It's not even good. And that's something that I'm really, really passionate about and have really kind of taken an interest in, considering obviously I'm 30 years old. I'm hopefully nowhere near a care home,
Hmm.
but it's just really interesting to see that kind of work going
Yeah.
on as our community grows and gets stronger. That's the kind of thing that is actually nice to know there is an organization out there fighting those battles for us.
Yes. That is actually something, since that hospital visit that I've thought about is, in my future, when I'm at a point where I can't maybe fully advocate for myself, or who knows what I'm going to be like as an elderly person, will I get the proper care I need? Will my caretakers understand how to manage me as a someone living with type 1 diabetes? And that's really actually a huge relief to hear, like, work like that is being done, and hopefully that continues to spread. And yeah, because I that's incredible. I'm glad that that's uh what's happening over in the UK, because that's so 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 important.
Probably something that we don't really think about either.
Yeah. We talk about, all the time, I don't, maybe the same for you too, but there's always such a big focus on finding a cure, but advocacy is such another really large, important piece for what is happening until that cure is found, until, we have reached that step, because we need to be getting the proper care now while we are living with type 1 diabetes.
For sure. And I'm really glad that you brought that up. So it makes a nice segue into actually how I found my hybrid closed loop and my journey into Breakthrough T1D. Because, and honestly, I'm going to admit this now, I did not realize the impact and influence that Breakthrough T1D had on hybrid closed loop development and
Mm.
policy. So here in the UK, we have the NHS, lovely. And there's something called NICE, which basically tell the NHS you can use this treatment in
Hmm.
very basic terms.
Okay.
So when hybrid closed loop became commercially available, I was on the pilot study to see if the NHS could fund the looping systems and things like that, and was very fortunate to get onto that. That was through my diabetes care team. Because unfortunately, I was that person. My HbA1c, now I don't know if it's the same in the US, was over 100. So
Oh, wow.
incredibly poor, very bad. And again, oh, it was really tough. I was already on a pump. I always forget, like 4 or 5 other autoimmune conditions. Just, yeah, whatever I did, it was just horrendous, to be quite
Hmm.
honest with you. Like, I have no other words for it. And I get really emotional talking about my time before hybrid closed loop because it did save my life. Um, but way, way, way before that even started, Breakthrough T1D were funding this research into the
Mm.
algorithms. They were the ones pushing this
Mm-hmm.
all the way back in the early 2000s. Like that blows my mind because I think about when I was diagnosed in 2006. That's to me seems like forever ago, and how long has this
Mm-hmm.
taken to come around and all of that. But they were the pioneers. They were the ones saying,
Mm-hmm.
no, we are going to make this available. I didn't actually know that. And then basically, when I was on the pilot study, I was approached by Breakthrough T1D, what was then JDRF. And
Ah,
I said, oh, I'd love to use you as a case study.
yes.
Like, yes, I've come out the other side. I mean, so my HbA1c now is 39. Sorry, I don't know
Mm-hmm. I wish I could
but
find something to convert that, but yeah.
that is literally like that's the HbA1c of a non-diabetic.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like ridiculous. Um, my mental health improved a ridiculous amount. Um, I used to really, really struggle with depression, really, really badly. I had the hybrid closed loop. It lifted a weight off. Um, just kind of made me able to live a little bit more, and it takes out the fear of the everyday for
Mm-hmm.
me. When I had such erratic blood sugars. So I said, of course, to Breakthrough T1D, I was like, of course, please. I want everyone to know how fantastic this system is. And again, little did I know in the background that because I didn't work for Breakthrough T1D at this point, they were going to Parliament. They were
Mm-hmm.
speaking to HS
Yes.
England. They were speaking to all the boards, the bodies, saying, yes, this needs to be available and we want to be involved and we want people to have access to this. And that's what I think is so incredible about this charity is it's not just the, like you say, the
Yeah.
cure research. It's the finding the better treatment and researching that, but then making sure people have access to it. But then also going a step further, and we have like our discovery days in the UK where people can come to no cost at all and they can learn about the new techs. They can speak to the tech companies. They can meet their community. And I just think there's nothing like that. And that's why it's such an honor to work here. So then when this job role came up, I was like, that's the place for me.
Yes.
Like they are making a difference. And it's just an incredible thing to be a part of. So it's not just a very big misunderstanding. Oh, it's a research charity. No, there's so much more that goes on in
Mm-hmm.
that. And yeah, that's why I now ended up working here.
Yeah. I love
They
that.
lured me in.
What a great tie-in. We got Larsenio in chat saying CEO of Breakthrough T1D in US was also testing hybrid closed loop on himself while advocating
Yeah.
for its use and adoption broadly. Which, yeah, it's again, we talk about, the research, the cures, but the advocacy here, and as you're saying with Congress, we have a similar program here, Children's Congress, which is actually coming up, where the kids with type 1 diabetes go and talk to Congress about, why this is important, and really, really
Which
great
always makes
program.
me cry. They know how to get the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Whenever I see that, I'm like, you guys,
Yes.
you've got me.
And the kids love it too. It's a really, really wonderful program we have here, getting the children involved with it. Um, but it's so, as you said, it's so important. This is how, progress is made. I love that also you were part of the case study for it too, because that's another aspect that we talk about is, these like trial programs and case studies, that this is how we help push out advancements in technology to other people living with T1D. So what an incredible story. Um,
We
so
talk about
how,
pushing out advancements though, but I think it's really important to note that my story is very particular to me, and that's why I
mhm,
really went heavy there on explaining how poor my blood sugar control was,
yeah,
regardless of pouring hours, days,
yeah,
sleepless nights into that. And I think that's really important to note because a lot of people then start to go, okay, I want a hybrid closed loop. However, if you are coping, and I mean, even if you're just head above water right now, stick with it because you can do it. We will get there. But also to the people that are on injections and absolutely loving life, don't change it. Don't fix what isn't broken. Don't feel like, oh, well, that girl on that stream said that hybrid closed loop
Yeah.
was the best thing ever, because it's the best thing for me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
So I think it's
everyone's lifestyle is different too, and what works best for one T1D it might not be the right solution for another, and that's okay because it's all about learning how to manage it for the best way that works for you personally. And so I love that you said that because that is so true. As someone who still does manual injections, that works for me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay not having a device on me. I also am someone who's open to hearing about, other things that people are using out there to better stay in range. And
that's the
yeah.
beauty of our community, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
That's there's no other community like it. If you need to
Mhm.
know something, you can reach out. Um, but yeah, I just think sometimes people are just so quick to go, oh, but I want a pump because I've heard it's the newest thing. And it's like when you actually sit down to it, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
It's a lot of understanding. I still have hypos. I still
Mhm.
get, it's not a cure.
No.
It's not a pill. But for me, it's what made my time in range the best it could be. And that's still only 70 to 80%. Take that as you will.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the UK, we have a 5-year plan, which
Okay.
means all under 8 have access to hybrid closed loop if they want it. Amazing. In adults, there's slightly more criteria. And yeah, that's one thing I hear a lot is, how do I get one? How do I get one? And it's like, just be patient. Like, we've got to respect our healthcare professionals. We've got to respect their time. We have to respect that kind of that order. Um, there are people in underserved communities and minorities, for example, that need this first because
Mhm.
they're in poverty. They can't afford to get food that is the right food for them and their diet. Things like just nuances like that I think sometimes we all have to stop and think about. And it's not always spoken about.
Yeah, well, so we talked about your transition into looping was kind of through that case study. What was kind of did you have you said you had a pump beforehand? What was that transition like for you?
I mean, if there's anyone listening, watching right now who doesn't quite understand the difference between the pump and the
Yeah,
looping.
that's actually a good. We should probably cover what is
Yeah,
looping here. We're
what is
talking
it?
about this because we know, but yeah, not everyone else
Yeah.
might understand.
I mean, I was on the standalone pump for a few years previous to that. Um, and what it meant was it didn't connect to CGM. I had a small cannula tubed into my stomach that I would change every 3 days. It's nothing like you don't have to go to hospital or anything like that. It's very easy to do at home. And basically, you'd enter your carb amount and your blood sugar, and it would work out based on your ratio how much insulin you needed. It would also drip feed depending on yourself, but a however many units every 3 minutes. So there was
Okay.
no long acting insulin. It's just constant short, just keeps getting dripped in like a normal pancreas would.
Hmm.
And then basically, because in the morning as a female, I get dawn phenomenon, which is really kind of something that a lot of females, not males, get. Again, the perks.
Yep.
And then, so my pump would drip feed slightly more between the hours of, say, 6 and 8, for example,
Mm.
and so forth that day. But this was fixed. So when I then transitioned to hybrid closed loop, which I'm very passionate about calling hybrid closed loop and not an artificial pancreas, which it's also known as, because an artificial pancreas makes it sound like it does everything.
Hmm.
It doesn't. So the hybrid closed loop, actually now, where I used to have to enter my blood sugar, it will automatically link up to my CGM.
Hmm.
What that means is literally every 5 minutes, it might be 4 minutes, it syncs up and it says, oh, your blood sugars are currently trending up. So we're going to add a little bit of correction in there for you. Oh, your blood sugars are going down. We're going to shut your insulin off for you. However, at mealtime, I still have to enter my carbs. So because I had the training from my previous pump, I found that really quite easy, that kind of transition, carb counting, all of that kind of thing. I was like, yeah, took to that really easily. One of the things that I didn't expect, and it was about, I'd say, probably about 3 months in, it was close to like Christmas time, is the pump will recommend corrections. So if you start going above 10, 11, 12, again, don't know that in the other way.
That's about 180 to 216 for those using the US version of blood sugar.
So the pump would then kind of go, okay, we can correct that. After however many years of correcting yourself, all of a sudden this machine is doing it for you. And sometimes it would let me like 12, 13, and where I was really chasing the high, the perfect range, I started to override it and not trusting it, and actually went into quite a dark time with the whole trusting the technology, which I've since learned is actually quite a common reaction. And it's something that you do have to overcome and deal with. But I think it's also a sign that you really have to be ready for this technology.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will end up resenting it.
Yeah.
I would love to say, like, yeah, everyone gets it. It's easy breezy. Today, for example, I've already had a high and then a hypo, and that's without me touching and overriding. But that still happens. I just think it's like really important to talk about those times.
Yeah.
It's not all unicorns and 100% timing rate. So yeah, that was my really difficult part with it. But then I embraced it again. As everyone's probably seen in the social media pictures and the press for this, is I wore my CGM on my wedding day with my beautiful patch.
I love those photos so much.
Yeah. It's, you have to embrace it. That's part of me. It's not who I am, but it's part of me. And I think if we can kind of show the world, like, yes, this is here. It's a hidden disability, but we're here. I think that's really important. And if, for example, I wear a tubed pump, and sometimes I'll put it in my pocket. Sometimes I will wear the clip on the outside because I can just go down and go, oh, you know what? I'm having a sugary drink. I can just easily put it in rather than getting things out my pocket. I'm not going to hide it. And that was part of that embracing the technology for me. So that's really important part as well. But that, again, is what works for me.
Yes. Yeah. And that's not going to work for everyone. Yeah. I love that you talked about too, this whole trusting the technology. I know that's something I have personally, I've mentioned before here and to others that, I have just started a CGM. I'm on day 33, so like very new to using a continuous glucose monitor. But it was because of that this mistrust of technology, worry that, is this going to work for me? You know, can I trust this to, you know, I've been doing manual finger pricks for so long, and my blood sugar I'm stay pretty well in range, at least according to my A1C. But it's really nice now seeing all the data and all this whole new picture of things I didn't know about my diabetes that you can see from a CGM, and kind of embracing that as well, and using that to my advantage. And I do too, like being able to show off my little CGM now, and you know, it's something that I feel like probably other diabetics can relate to. When you're out and about and you see someone with a CGM or you see them with a pump, you're like, oh, I know you're diabetic too. Like,
yeah.
But it is
I
like
love
kind of
it.
nice having that little representation on, I know like, hey, people, I know that I'm now someone that someone could look at and be like, oh, hey, she has diabetes too. And I think that's important as well.
No, definitely. I love that though, like that you feel that kind of empowerment by wearing it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
we should all try and focus on the empowerment and
Yes.
how incredibly fortunate that we are that we're in this position to have this amazing technology that does really save our lives.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, yes, it's nice to have something that goes, hey, yeah, I actually do have a chronic condition. It's not just inside, but also, yeah, it is something that is really, and I truly believe CGM and pumps save our lives. They don't just change our lives, they really
Hmm.
do save our lives.
Yes. Percent.
So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
I
so
love that.
excited for you though.
Oh, thank you. It's been a really great change. Yeah. And it's because of honestly, it's because of these conversations with other people living with T1D and hearing all of your stories and how the things like CGMs or closed loops have changed your life and just learning more what's out there and making sure that I can also, do the same. And I hope that, maybe this impacts other viewers listening to this as well. But I do think, as you said, everyone's different. And
Yeah.
oh, I do love that. How do we're obviously you're really engulfed in the type 1 diabetes space, not only living with it, but also working with Breakthrough T1D UK. How do you find balance in that? Do you, how do you prioritize?
I it's gonna sound at first it's gonna sound bad. I don't. I have clung on to diabetes now as basically my whole personality.
Mhm.
Um, my I always say I am the most boring person on earth because it's all I talk about. Um, and I mean, but that's where I'm at in my journey right
Mhm.
now. I've fully embraced my type 1 for years in my teenage years of not
Mhm.
embracing it at all, but denying that I had it, um, stemming from just years of kind of, I mean, school times, having to go in cupboards, not being allowed to inject in front of other kids, things like those kind of horror stories. And I think I've kind of gone the reverse now, because I never ever want, particularly a child. So I know that, actually, I don't know if everyone knows this, but 50% of all new diagnoses in type 1 are actually in adulthood now.
Mhm.
However, for me, the children that are growing up with this disease in a school setting, in a friend setting, I just kind of, I'm there like, I don't want them to ever feel like they can't do something
Mhm.
because of type 1, or they have to feel like they're not this extraordinary person because of their type 1. And so, yeah, to be honest, like the balance isn't there, but it's because I've chosen to deep dive into it for my passion and my love
Mhm.
for our community. Um, and I just, yeah, I
I
think
love that.
it's
I
it's just it's a part of where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
I'm sure in a few years I might get a hobby, but right now it's diabetes.
I love that like you're doing,
Suggestions are now open.
you're taking something that, this is a hard thing to have, type 1 diabetes. It's a hard condition to live with, but you're leveraging your experience and your knowledge and trying to make it better for other people going through this. And that's really powerful, honestly. I think that's incredible work you're doing, and I applaud you for that. Could you tell us more about what you do as the corporate partnership manager for Breakthrough T1D UK?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one because when I first kind of learned about Breakthrough T1D, what was of course JDRF then,
Hmm.
I was just obsessed with everyone that I met that worked there. I fell in love with every single person. I was like, you're just incredible human beings. And at the time, I had quite an amazing career in the pharmaceutical industry. So I've got a biomedical science degree. I then worked in pharmaceutical sales in diabetes. And I kind of thought, oh, I really want to work for them, but where on earth do my skills kind of
Mm-hmm.
go across there? And that's when I heard of this job role. And I've never worked for a charity before, so I wasn't familiar with a charity structure. I was kind of reading about it. I was like, okay, that's really interesting. Because basically, what's happened, and this is globally, is Breakthrough T1D has really good relationships with the pharmaceutical and medtech industries, obviously supporting our community. But outside of that, there's not a lot of touch points. We don't have a lot of sponsors
Mm.
from the health world or the food industry. And I think people, to be honest with you, and for lack of a better word, can be quite scared of our community. It's a very misunderstood place.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of when I saw this job, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. So now, yeah, that my biggest task is really finding sponsors and partners that want to support our work that may think that our community isn't relevant to them. So, for example, like I really want to kind of conquer like foot care is a huge one.
Mm.
Type 1 diabetes, please, guys, check your feet. It's
Yes.
really important.
Yes.
Such an easy thing to do as well. Keep them moisturized. Such an easy thing to do, but a really misunderstood place. Things like that. I mean, the health smartwatches. I'm like, guys,
Mm-hmm.
we use you all the time. Everyone with type 1 has some kind of device outside of their phone looking at their blood sugars. We're obsessed with them. Things like that. So that's now where I'm trying to break through and make our community relatable. And hopefully, with that, then we can really break some stigma. So, in particularly in the
Mm.
sports space, I'm really interested in. So, any sports related brands. We did some market research here in the UK, and it was over nearly half the respondents were told that they could not exercise or do sport because of their type 1, which is
Wow.
obviously not true. Not true.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was so misunderstood as type 1 diabetes. It's
that's mad. Like, yes, you'll probably have a hypo. Everyone's going to have a
yeah.
hypo every now and again, but that does not mean in no way can we compete. So, yeah, my
Yeah.
job role now is trying to find those brands that want to break that mold. And I tell you what, it's been tough. Um, Obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
environment at the moment, the landscape for giving is
Mm-hmm.
at all-time low.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm driven for that breaking stigma and misinformation. And I think that can be really powerful.
Yeah.
So that's what I do on a daily basis here in my job role.
And I think even as you're saying too, just like you're still advocating and educating in this role beyond even if you don't secure maybe a partnership. Like you're still spreading that what it really is to be type 1 diabetic, and I think that's still important at the end of the day too. um what are some of the are there some partnerships that the UK has worked with that you can share with us or
Yeah, so I mean, our medtech partnerships are just incredible.
Mhm.
There's some really exciting work. I mean, like I say, with the Discovery Days in particular, we're so fortunate that all of the likes of the technology companies all try to make an appearance at these. And what that means is not just for us is we get sponsorship so we can hold these events. That's really important. We do not charge for Discovery Days. But also what that means is that our community then gets to get an even balance of information. And I think they're the kind of ones that have worked really well. So some of the partnerships that I'm working on at the moment outside of that are also kind of based on that information. Um, but I'm really excited about looking into the spaces, the sports world in particular that I was on about. I think
Mhm.
that's going to be really exciting, but nothing that I can talk about just
Yeah, as
yet.
I was saying, I'm sure there's stuff that you can't talk
Yeah,
about yet, but that is exciting regardless.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
it's fun to
next
switch it.
year, UK Diabetes Week here with our stream with the Breakthrough T1D play team. We can find a UK sponsor, a
Yes.
tie-in,
Yep.
something we
We're
can
doing
cook.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be great. Because
We're doing it. Because it's
yeah.
all of these things that are so relatable. And we have, oh, I just don't think there's any community like the diabetes community.
Mm-hmm.
We have a already purpose-built audience ready to
Mm-hmm.
engage with a brand that wants to
Yes.
shout to our audience and say, hey, we're here to support you. Um, I mean, I'm biased, but I love our community.
I do too. I'm also biased though, but I do think it's incredible seeing, I see with these events that we put on here and even beyond, just our space online, but how passionate everyone is and how everyone comes together and works together and just like being able to relate in these ways that I don't think anyone else could. It's a really powerful community with big
It
drive
is.
that I think here I'll give my pitch. Anyone willing to give a sponsorship to us would it's a huge payoff because we're going to drive that. We're super passionate
Massive.
about what we do.
And we have the
Totally
most
agree.
loyal community.
Yes.
I think, yeah. And I mean, you were just talking about our community and inspiring others. And in that sports space as well, it's just reminded me last week, we had the best event that was incredible that we held with T1D Sporting Stars. So these are like professional sports stars in the
Hmm.
UK that are type 1, have obviously undergone struggle and hardship. I mean, there was a boxer called Muhammad Ali, and he was denied his boxing license multiple times because of his type 1, even though he was the fittest guy in the ring because he had type
Wild.
1. He
Yeah.
understood food, he understood fitness, he understood how his body worked. There was this girl, Jess Shaw, who's an England netballer. Again, she was at an England netball game and they tried to send her home for having a hypo. And they checked her on a train when she was like 15 years old and just went, sorry, you can't play. You've had one hypo, you can't play.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's stories like that.
Yeah.
And now she is a accomplished England netballer. Like, she's very well known and a good netballer. It's stories like that kind of that we need to share more and break those stigmas. But now it's my job to get the brands behind those stories
Mm.
because without their support, then we can't hold events like that. We can't constantly inspire others because we need the sponsorship.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these people were amazing last week. Honestly, their stories. Cricketer, rugby player Chris Pennell, Gary Mabbott, who's a footballer. Just, yeah, these amazing
I love that.
superheroes.
Yes. Honestly, yeah. It's a lot to fight against and be able to see, we need to lift up those stories too. I love that. Um what are what are some accomplishments in the T1D space that people may have not heard of?
I mean, I think everyone really always talks about, oh, research, cures,
Mhm.
but that kind of stuff. And sometimes we forget about the stories behind those.
Mhm.
So again, like those sports stars and things like that are just incredible inspirations.
Mhm.
Um, but I think well, it's very easy to say like, oh, the amazing accomplishments that Breakthrough T1D has made. And I think, I mean, including hyperclose loop, obviously
Mhm.
becoming available on NHS for us. There's a lot of work at the moment, very early days going into early detection, which is just going to be incredible. Nobody should be diagnosing DKA.
No.
We've then obviously the cure research in the stem cells is just come on
Mhm.
phenomenally. But just kind of want to switch the question up a little bit and say also, some of our biggest accomplishments is like for me, I am now working for my dream job in
Yeah.
my dream
Yes.
charity just because I'm not a superstar netballer. But for me, I've peaked. I've really got there. And I always say like a bucket list item for me would be to kind of speak on an international stage, like go to America or at ADA or something and
Yeah.
speak as a C. But that in itself is an accomplishment. Getting on an aeroplane and going to a different country with all your supplies and backups,
Yes.
accomplishment.
Yes. I as someone who travels frequently, like that it is it's those little things like that that you just wouldn't think about that yeah. I will say though, it's been lovely talking with you and you are very well spoken. So I hope you get to see that dream come true because I think you
Thank
would
you.
do I think you would do fantastic in that space. So maybe we can get you out here and
Oh, it would be the dream. I would come with 4 suitcases of cannulas and dentistors, and, you know.
but we'd make it work.
Okay,
It's your T1D won't stop you. That's, I think
exactly.
that's the end of the day, as we said, like it is just a part of who we are, but it's not our whole thing. And it's not, there's very few things you can't do as someone with type 1 diabetes. Like we, we are a full force out there. Um, that being said, as someone living with T1D today, what gives you hope?
I do think how incredibly quickly the advancements are coming now. It's rapid, it's growing, but also what gives me the most hope is how much our community rallies together to make these advancements come true.
Yeah.
We really put the pressure on. We're as a community, we're like, no, we want better. We
Mm-hmm.
deserve better. We don't just deserve to survive anymore. We deserve to thrive. And because of organizations like Breakthrough T1D, I actually see that coming true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which gives me the most hope that, yeah, I think we're gonna live pretty long lives now, to be honest. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we are fighting a and we already have talked, within this past 50 minutes here about how many things Breakthrough T1D and type 1 diabetics in general are doing to advocate for ourselves and push for a better life, better longer life for ourselves. I think you're right on the nose with that. Um Something we're kind of getting unfortunately to the end here, and I feel like there's so much more I'd love to talk to you about. But I do want to make sure there's a question we ask every single time we do a T1D Tuesday that I want to make sure we get to, and it's if there is one thing you could say to your younger self, having just been diagnosed with T1D, what would you say?
Don't push people away when they're trying to help. I think, and now I'm getting really emotional.
No.
Um, Particularly if you're diagnosed as a kid and your parents are trying to protect you, that's all they're doing. They're trying to
No.
protect you in that loving way. And I think the more open you are about your emotions that you're feeling, even in adulthood, I will say to my husband now, like he follows my Dexcom, he has my blood sugars. My parents don't know that exists, by the way.
Oh
So
wow.
we're just never going to tell them that. But so now my husband follows my blood and he'll be like, oh, you're going low, oh, you're going high. And I will just leave me alone. I
Hmm.
know, but I can't do anything right now. Um, but then I then sit back and go, he's saying that out of the same frustration that I'm feeling. And if I then communicate that and say, you know what, I'm feeling pretty crappy, I am doing everything I can right now, and it's still not working. Yeah, that's when I then make the progress. And I really wish I was able to do that at a younger age because, oh, the tantrums, the screamings, that I hate yous. And I didn't. I hated the disease.
Yes.
And I have the most incredible, I'm so, so fortunate. And that's why I get emotional talking about it, because I have the best support system in the entire world. But I kind of just wish someone said, well, they did, to be honest with you. Healthcare professionals were always like, they're just trying to help, they're just trying to help. But I wish I could tell my younger self and say, just tell them how you're feeling. If you're angry, tell them that you're angry. Don't just say I hate you and slam the door. And I guess that's like relatable on so many levels as a
Yeah.
kid, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's being a
That's such
teenager.
a kid response though. Like,
But
that was your childhood way of expressing those emotions that was the way you knew how to express that as a kid.
yeah, I was
And I
so
still, there's
angry.
days as an adult where I want to slam the door
Oh,
and,
I'm like,
scream,
go
I hate
away.
you because of diabetes. So I
All the time. All
totally
the time.
relate to that. Yeah, but it does sound like you have a really great support system and,
I'm the
you know,
luckiest. I
your
am the
husband,
luckiest person.
your husband following along on your Dexcom. Like I always find that so sweet when I hear that when someone's partner is also looped into that and helps keep
Yeah.
track, like that. I think that is a really beautiful way to show love, honestly, is
Oh,
following
completely.
along and understanding your partner's
It's
type 1 diabetes.
understanding. That's it. It's understanding. It's not that he's following me and keeping an eye on me and all that. It's him trying to understand more. And because people go instantly, sometimes they go, oh no, that's weird. And it's not. It's him trying to understand. And then when I am having those bad days, I don't even have to tell him. And he goes, oh, by the way, for dinner, I've just worked out your carb amount. It's on a piece of paper by dinner. Things like that completely change your life. And if you do have a partner and you're watching this and you're thinking, I could not simply ask any more of them because they are our biggest cheerleaders, have that conversation. It might be worth it.
I love that. Yeah. As someone who I've been in relationships where my partner didn't care to learn at all about diabetes. And then I've been in ones where they really want to learn and know what to do and how to be helpful with it and understand and will ask me things like, are you going low right now? You seem kind of like, do you need like a juice box? Like
Oh,
that that triggered something in you.
no, I'm just annoyed. My bloods aren't low. I'm just annoyed at you.
Yeah. But it's, at the end of the day, that's them. That's, I think, a way of showing love and care to someone. And maybe, and sometimes I think I do see your side too, where you're like, no, I'm not. I'm just tired. I'm just angry, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I know that they're doing it because they want to make sure I'm okay. They don't want something bad to happen to me because they're aware of what it's like to have diabetes. Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you so hard. Um, that being said, how can people help and support those in the T1D community?
One of the easiest things is we're here talking on behalf of the charity, literally going on a charity website, looking up the disease and just trying to understand more about the disease is such an easy thing. Going on these web pages and just seeing the what is type 1 and like just reading some of those nuances as well, I think is such an easy way to get an understanding of the board, but it can then open up the conversations further. You can then talk about, oh, I read this. Does that happen to you? And it's about being open. But I think it's such an easy thing. It's out there for free. Go and use it,
Mm-hmm.
please.
Yes, please. I love that. Please be open to learn, as we've said time and time again. Very, very misunderstood illness, very complicated condition to live with. And just putting in that effort to learn and understand and help advocate for people like myself and Yaz. Like I know I personally appreciate that a ton when I see other people put in the effort. Um, And just being here and watching,
Yeah.
these T1D Tuesdays, that's incredible and means a lot to people like us. Oh, I'm like, all right, we have like a little bit time, maybe one more question here. I know I've had in the chat box here posting your Instagram handle because I know you have your Instagram account where you post about life with diabetes.
Yes.
So please go give Yasmin a follow if you haven't already. That link is in chat. But I want to know, are there any type 1 diabetic influencers that you look up to and go to for advice?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot. One that I would say probably the most, well, to be honest, I'm very lucky that I now work for the organization. So a lot of them also work for Breakthrough
Yeah,
T1D.
shout them out
So
because yeah, I would love
I
to
mean,
hear,
there's the, like the
especially the
Stan
UK ones.
Stan Farrow, who was obviously on here
Yes.
before. Just the yeah, epitome of knowledge and support and understanding. But we've also got Chris Bright, who's in the same team is in Stan's team. But Chris really leads on that whole sport and stigma side. He's set up the diabetes football community here in the UK, which I just think is incredible. He himself is like this amazing sports person that I just don't understand how he does it without hypoing every single hour of the day. Um, for me, I'm just like, you are kind of what we should all kind of strive, and he's so open and incredible. But I mean, yeah, there's loads of like more emerging people now as well. The more I get into the community that maybe don't have 400,000 followers, but are really just out there to educate people in particular. And I mean, there's always a celebrity. It's like James Norton. He's fun to look at on his
Hmm.
Instagram. But yeah, I mean, we're so lucky here in the UK. But yeah, I'd say probably Chris for me on the sports front because it's the unknown realm.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, if you speak to anyone in the UK that's slightly into sports and has type 1 diabetes, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Chris Bright." Like, and you're like, "Yes, this is the guy." And he led on all that work to do with the sports and stigma survey that was on about earlier as well. So yeah, very lucky to know him.
Love that. I love that so much. Well, we're at the end of our time here, unfortunately. I wish I could keep yapping with you, but this has been a really, really great, insightful conversation, and I'm so glad that you took the time out of your night to come and
It's
chat
really
with
dark. I'm
us.
so sorry. It's really dark. I'm so sorry.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Yasmin. You all are
Thank
wonderful.
you.